Hey guys, welcome to Personal Means. I've been gone for a few days and now I'm back. I'm recording my first video after I took that break for a couple of days. And today we're doing another predictions video. We're doing the Cincinnati Bengals in here. The Bengals, they're in a rough patch right now, but I have a feeling that they'll get better. I mean, they've got a rookie quarterback, which normally doesn't. I mean, when you have a rookie quarterback, it doesn't normally bode well for the first season, but next year he'll probably become a very good quarterback. I mean, they've got AJ Boyd, AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, and they drafted T. Higgins, so they're giving him stuff to work with. Even like CJ Uzuma, you could say, is a solid tight end. I mean, Joe Mixon, I guess, he's an okay running back. So I mean, they've got a solid wide receiver unit, an okay running back unit. And I guess you could. I mean, it's not a bad. C.J. Uzomah isn't a bad tight end, but he's also not spectacular. So their offense. It's. I mean, you got T. Higgins and Joe Burrow, who both shot in there. So their offense is gonna take a bit to get going, but it'll probably start to get going towards the end of the season. Their defense, their front seven is probably just average. They're. I mean, if you look at their secondary, they got Jesse Bates, Trey Waynes, Von Bell. I mean, really, that secondary is really good. So their secondary and then their wide receiver unit is probably the best parts of their team. So they'll be an okay team. Maybe they'll go like 6-10 this year, but like next year they'll probably be much better. And also, before we start, I just want to point out how cool I think it is that he actually changed the logo from the Redskins logo to the Washington football team logo. I think that's cool. It's officially, I think, gone on like everything except for the posters I have hanging up around my room. In week one, though, I just said that they would be a solid team, but I still don't see them beating the Chargers with what's his name? I forgot his name. But the Chargers, I mean, Keenan Allen, that defense, that's solid. I mean, Cincinnati, I know they're at home, but it's their first game. It'll take them a bit to get rolling. This might be their worst performance game of the year, just because they're thrown into a game with the Chargers, who are one of the better teams in the league. All right, and then they go to Cleveland, and I think Cleveland wins here. I know that they didn't look too good last year, but they do have lots of talent. They do have a new head coach, so that play calling should get better. I don't know how it could get worse. So they'll be a better team this year, and at home against the Bengals. I think playing the Bengals early is kind of just like, maybe an instant win. Not really, but still. And then they go to Philadelphia, and you've heard, I mean, obviously I don't like Philadelphia that much, but they still do have, I mean, Carson Wentz, he's an okay quarterback. He can win games. They do have a solid offense, and I will give them this win here. And then in week 4, Jacksonville comes to town, and I'm going to give them their first win here at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, of course, really, I don't think that Gardner Minshew should be starting. I think, he had a couple early games, but that was just your luck. You lost your main quarterback, and your backup quarterback did pretty okay in the beginning of the season, got you a few wins, and then started to tumble towards the end of the season. Okay, that's whenever you're like, all right, we get another quarterback. We're lucky. We say Gardner Minshew, you're a good backup, and that's it. And in week 5, I'm sorry, there's no way you win this game. Maybe towards the end of the season, week 17. I mean, look at this crap, 14-1 right now. But Cincinnati, they lose to Baltimore, and it's not looking too good. And then they go in to Indianapolis, and again, I think Indianapolis, Phillip Rivers has more weapons now than he did in Los Angeles. And I think after these 6 games, people start to think like, oh, Joe Burrow, he's not doing too well. And then I think Cleveland comes to town, and I think they get their second win of the season when they beat Cleveland at home. Okay, Cleveland, again, same thing. They got lots of talent, but I really don't see them sweeping the Bengals. And then I think they get off to a roll, and I think they beat Tennessee at home. 3-5 now. I mean, Tennessee, they have Derrick Henry. They have one of the better teams. I think this is kind of like a spoiler game where, like I said, they're going to get rolling. They're going to turn into a pretty okay team. And they go into their bye week. They're like, all right, we just won 2 straight games. We play Pittsburgh, which is a pretty easy team. We play Washington. And we have a stretch of games that we could potentially win. We just have to settle down, focus, and do it. And then I think Pittsburgh beats them at home. Wouldn't be surprised to see them split, but right now I just feel like Big Ben, at home. Again, obviously, I'm not a big fan of them, but I do think that they can get the win here. And going to Washington, this might be a surprise, but I think Cincinnati is going to win this one. Very, very, very tough game here. Washington, of course, with a lot of talent on the roster, one of the better rosters in the league right now. Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, Darius Geis, Adrian Peterson. That whole offense is pretty stacked. But you look at Cincinnati, they also have a very good offense. These are two very good teams going up against each other. At this point, Cincinnati is a very good team, but I think they lose two games that they really shouldn't have right here in a row. This is just kind of showing, I don't know, but you got the Giants, who really, their offense is pretty solid, and their defense is, I mean, these are the games that they could win. Miami at this point has Tagovailoa in there, and I think Tagovailoa is better than Joe Burrow and will probably be able to win more games, and I think Miami is just a better team than Cincinnati. And then the Cowboys come to town. They have a little bit of playoff hope left. I mean, look at this. Their best hope was to win these two games and be 6-6 and maybe struggle through these. But no, I think Dallas wins this one. While, again, obviously, I'm not as hyped on the Cowboys as a lot of people are. I do still think that they are a very good team in the NFL. And I think that, with Ezekiel Elliott and Amari Cooper, the best wide receiver unit in the league, if they had a better quarterback, this would be a blowout. And then I feel like they can split with Pittsburgh, and now they're 5-9. Probably they might have a tiny sliver of playoff hope still in their veins that is knocked out by the Texans. They're 5-10 now, rivaling in pain. The Texans, again, they did lose DeAndre Hopkins, but they've got good players. David Johnson is a solid running back. I know we all focus on the fact that it was definitely a terrible trade, but you got to look, David Johnson, that running back unit is going to be pretty solid. But it definitely does not make up for the fact that they traded DeAndre Hopkins. And then I think Baltimore, as you can see, will be 14-1 at this point. And look at everyone else, 10-6, 13-3. There is no possible way that Baltimore has not clinched the bye week. I don't think so. So I think they throw this game to Cincinnati, who really should throw this game to Baltimore. But, it's whatever. So they go 6-10. They go from going 2-14 to going 6-10. And next year, they will probably jump up some more, 9-7, 10-6. Next year is when things really start to pick up. So 6-10 is where I'm putting them. But I think in this stage, it's mainly because they play tough teams like this. If this schedule was flipped and they played like the Browns, the Eagles, Pittsburgh, obviously they play Pittsburgh, at the end of the season, I think they would do much better. But right now, I'm just not seeing it. I think 6-10 is where they go. Now, the worst case scenario, this is Joe Burrow does not work out whatsoever. They completely just fall flat on their faces. Obviously, they lose these two games. And they lose this game against Washington. And no, Baltimore's going to be throwing this game. So I think their worst possible record at this point is... Sorry, forgot about this game. Their worst possible record at this point is 2-14. I think the worst possible thing that they could do if Joe Burrow doesn't work out is that they just go back and they do the exact same thing they did last year. They get one of the better draft picks in the draft. Probably, let me look. Oh, they're going to be battling it out with the Jets. The Jets will probably get it, but still, they have one of the better draft picks. Maybe they get another quarterback. Maybe they give Joe Burrow another year. But again, this is just as low as I'm willing to say they possibly go. This isn't very likely in any scenario. So let me go ahead and put those back. Welcome back to 6-10 territory. Now their best possible record. This is if he comes onto the scene and he just completely dominates. Everyone basically just bows down to them as the new heads of the world. I think the best that they could possibly go, if Joe Burrow takes off and T. Higgins takes off and this whole team just takes a huge leap forward, again, week 18, that's the playoffs, 10-6 is their absolute best, and I'm willing to say that they go. And again, it's not likely in my head, but I'm saying if they are going to play as good as I think if I was a Bengals fan, this is what I would want to happen. If I was a Bengals fan, this would be my ideal season. Okay? Now, of course, every team wants their team to go 10-6. But if I was a Bengals fan, this is like the Bengals fan record. This is what they would want. Which I'm not a Bengals fan. But still, all the way back, 7 and 9. Oh yeah, 6 and 10. I hope you don't hate me for this. I don't hate you for watching this. You can go to playerpredictions.com and send me your own record. You could send me your own predictions on, you can send it to me on Twitter. You can send it to me on Instagram, YouTube comments, Patreon messaging. Sure, there's a thing for that. But yeah, I do have a Patreon. I'm trying to start a podcast. I need money desperately. Now I'm sounding like one of those weird streamers. Please pretend I never talk, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You better subscribe.